All right. Hello, Zionsville. We are live on YouTube, and this is your mayor and town council president ready to share.
Just from the parking lot.
Awesome. Ready to share some updates for you. We did not get any questions in advance, but you're live, so feel free to send any questions along that you have. They don't have to be related to the topics that we're discussing. We'll be happy to address anything that comes up during this time frame. So I've got a couple of things that I want to briefly update folks on, and I'm sure that President Garrett will also have some things that he wants to share. First of all, the Gateway redevelopment plan. You may have heard a bit about this initiative where we are talking about what to do with the entryway into the Village business district. You've, I'm sure, seen that there are a few less buildings downtown when you drive into the Village. The PNC Bank building and the locksmith shop. So we are now really focusing on this Zionsville Gateway area. We've engaged some professionals to help us, one, solicit input from residents, from business owners, from visitors, from elected officials, from all different types of stakeholders. What are some of the things that we want to see added to that area, and how do we want to balance those things between those areas that invest in the community through corporate different types of residential options, and then also those areas that where the community invests in recreational or other types of amenities, pathways, a public restroom, for example. There are a number of different things that many folks have talked for years about what's needed in that area. And we are right now moving into the phase of this project where we are working to solicit your input. So I want to give you a website. Our normal website, www.zionsville-in.gov. That's where your landing page for things that the town is providing to you through the web. /Gateway Plan, GATEWAYPLAN. That is the area where you're going to go to learn more information, to figure out, to find out how you can provide your input in different areas. There will be focus groups, there will be surveys. We are also going to put in a whole community discussion that will have some virtual elements and some in-person elements. So stay tuned and dial into that. And don't ever hesitate to reach out to myself, Amanda, or other members of the team to get more information if you need it. We also...
I've gotten so much good feedback on that.
Oh, right?
Sorry to interrupt you there. It's been amazing with people reaching out saying they're so happy we're doing this, especially after some of the projects that have kind of come through. And I think developers will appreciate knowing what the community wants as well. So kudos to you for leading that up.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much. And I'm so grateful for your support and counsel. It is a win for our community to really have a solid plan around infrastructure, community-oriented space, and space that gets put to work for our community. We also have launched, in response to a number of national events and a large community response and desire to have more conversations around policing, racial bias, and just the community experience of all visitors, residents, and employees as it relates to implicit bias, as it relates to racism, as it relates to everyone feeling welcome and knowledgeable and empowered about what kind of experience they should receive as a visitor, as a resident, as a business owner when they are in the town of Zionsville. And there's a lot of talk, and there has been a lot of ideas generated, and it's time for action at this point. And what community members are going to have an option to do coming very soon is engage in a public conversation with the police chief, members of the police department, and members of the community to just have an open conversation around race, around policing, around experiences that are here and maybe in other communities as well. And it will just be an open-ended conversation. No, there'll be ground rules in terms of how we let each other speak and hear. Just kind of polite conversation techniques, but otherwise it will just be an open conversation for real dialogue that is a starting point for future conversations like this between the community and those members of our community that are charged to protect and serve. In addition to that conversation, there has also been a real strong desire by members of the community to have facilitated training and facilitated just experiences around issues related to race. These are optional conversations that are centered around specific topics. Some of them include issues around implicit bias, in systematic racism. These may be topics that members of our community are just now hearing about and want to understand more. What is remarkable to me is that we've had 66 people sign up in a week for these particular workshops. So it's clear that there are folks in our community that just want to understand more about these concepts and how they can be informed through that learning. It's a start. It is not meant to do anything other than continue to grow our community's language that we use when we talk about these issues, and also our collective experiences that we have together as we just work to, learn more and be more open.
I'm looking forward to those.
Yeah.
I admit I live in a bubble, right? And I want to hear from people that are both have different backgrounds within my bubble, but more importantly, what's going on outside that you can't really get from reading an article or watching the news. And so I think it's important to have this kind of dialogue, not just in Zionsville, but really around the country. Doesn't mean we'll agree on everything, but it's good to understand where people are coming from, to understand maybe some of the frustrations that they're experiencing as well.
Yeah. And I think if we let the news tell us everything we needed to know, then we would be probably just crying in a corner somewhere. I mean,
You're right.
We desperately need to have community conversations around where we are and have three-dimensional kind of experiences around such an important topic. And I'm grateful that one of our local residents, Dr. Abby Robinson Armstrong, if you've listened in to previous discussions, you've heard me talk about her. She stepped forward as a former VP for Intercultural Affairs and a professor at I can't ever say this right. Loyola. I think I did it that time. Marymount University in Los Angeles. Her experience, she's bringing it to us free of charge to help facilitate those series topic conversations. And I think both the open-ended conversation with our law enforcement team and these facilitated conversations are going to be really, really valuable for many of us. Okay, we have a climate action plan project that many of you have heard us talk about also in the past. I wanted to let you know that we are moving forward in some upcoming steps, which are the group is putting together a roadmap using all the data that's been collected up to this point, and also reference points in other similar communities to help us identify some changes that will increase sustainability and decrease greenhouse gases. And I think that it's exciting hearing from many of you about how encouraged you are by this effort, about how you're hoping that some of the inherent obstacles to things like solar, utilizing solar power for your home, that maybe either through zoning or homeownership, HOA rules or other impediments, how we can work together to focus on a couple of those challenges and potentially change them so that our community can take steps that they really desire that will have a positive impact on climate change. Creekside Chat. So we launched something this month. It's frustrating that because of COVID, it has been really difficult to meet with groups and have conversations here in town hall. So we have started having more and more conversations outside, and Creekside, unfortunately, because it's not filled with businesses, which we are working to change it and take it offline for just open air conversations. But in this time frame where we do have a lot of open land in Creekside, we are purposefully just opening up a day of the week to have some conversations with folks who want to talk about anything you want. These are every Thursday at 4 o'clock. I'll be there with a chair. I would love for Josh, you to join us, anybody else from council. Like, we just want to be present so that the community can show up and ask questions about how, what, when town government can address your concerns or ideas. So remember that, Creekside, Thursday, 4 o'clock. We'll be there. Chair, you bring your own chair. Or
Is it BYOB too?
I am not going to say that. I'm afraid that may open a door that I don't need to have open.
Yeah, I don't think we're allowed to actually have that. We need a permit.
No. Yeah, we do not have that permitting set up. I have a very exciting announcement. We have hired a new parks director. Jared Logston is coming on board and starts October 12th. We had a very competitive process with people applying from all over the country. Jared will be moving his family from Oregon to land here in Zionsville. He is super duper excited about this opportunity, and we are very thrilled to have him. He is joining a solidly fantastic crew here on the ground in Zionsville. I want to say a special thank you to Mindy Murdoch, who has been a wonderful interim director. She has brought a great deal of stability and thoughtfulness to the team, done tremendous team building during her interim leadership role. And I know that when Jared comes on board, he is going to lean in and rely heavily on her as a leader in the organization to get things up and running. There's a lot for Jared to do, and the rest of the team. One thing that I learned on our update call yesterday is that they are marching so far ahead on the dog park in Heritage Trail. By every indication, it will be fenced, permitted, and online before the end of this year, which, wow, if you know anything about government projects, that's literally unheard of. So kudos to the board and the team and staff for working so diligently to think through all the processes and purchases and things in the ground that need to happen to make that work for our community. And we have, if you haven't heard already, the Sycamore Street Bridge is soon going to be drivable. It opens on Thursday, the 17th. And I think that we may be able to christen it with a bottle of champagne, right?
Oh, and I better hope so. That's been a long 6 months. The bridge, I think, and I repeat this a lot. The bridge is actually a county project, and they're good partners of ours. But especially for those of us east of the bridge, we're anxious to get reconnected back with downtown.
Yeah, for real. I mean, it's been painful for you. I mean, you've
Oh,
had a good 10-minute extra drive just to
there's
get
been a
your
few
favorite
Dukes
watering
of
holes.
Hazzard moments where we're ready to jump it, but
Yeah.
we've been patiently waiting.
Yeah, it's really great. And it looks gorgeous. So
It does. It
it's
does.
very nice. All right. What other things do you want to chat about?
A couple things. We've got, just so everyone knows, our budgeting process is starting off here pretty soon. Well, I shouldn't say starting off, but it's coming in front of council here pretty soon. So
Yeah.
we're anxious. I know you've been working on it for a while.
Yeah, we got a lot of work. We've a lot of hours we put into that, and it's
Yeah,
such a great opportunity as a mayor to have our first budget introduced, and really a budget document serves so many different purposes. It's a plan for your year. It shows where your resources are going to be prioritized. It talks about the aspirational items that we're not doing today that we can do tomorrow with the right funding. And it also really focuses on all the different projects that each department does, even those that don't get all the attention at, discussions like this.
yeah.
It's
Well, and
really
I'm excited. I mean, we now have a CFO, Tammy Habbard,
Mhm.
which we've never had that role before. So good for you for identifying that. And one of her goals is to make the budget more consumable, not only for council and for you, Mayor, but also for residents. I mean, it is their money, our money that we're spending. So I'm excited to be able to talk through and better understand it, because government budgets are much different than
They are.
personal budgets or corporate budgets.
Yeah, I love it too. I mean, the transparency and the digestibility. I'm glad you used that, kind of pointed to that specifically. It's important that to whatever degree we can help taxpayers understand what the dollars we receive and how they transition into services and projects and amenities and responsibilities that we have for those residents, that it really doesn't go into a black hole and just sit
Yes.
there. It's turned into benefits for our community, and I'm excited to be able to be a part of that conversation moving
Yes.
forward.
And it's a public process. It'll come up a number of steps through council. The budget itself is publicly available. So if you ever want to see how your money's being spent, it's very, very open.
Mhm.
You were talking about kudos. I wanted to give a quick kudos to Wayne DeLong and Economic Development Team. I've been impressed with the number of economic development projects that are coming in front of council. And I know are sort of slated to keep coming in front of council, including some things in Creekside. So good for him, and in bringing those forward in a pandemic, in an interesting economic climate. It's nice to see that businesses still want to bring their business to Zionsville and are lining up to do it.
Yeah, we've got so much to offer employees, business owners, and it has been terrific and frustrating too, because I know there'd be more if we weren't sitting in this particular moment in time, but
Yes.
grateful for all of those that are coming forward.
And speaking of employees wanting to live here, it's a good lead in. Are you going to Homerama, which is in Zionsville this year?
I feel like it's just going to depress me, because have you seen my house?
I know. I was having that same conversation with a buddy. I
Oh,
know exactly what
like
you're talking
I
about.
have my
They look so
sofa
nice.
is 20 years old. Like it's the kind of thing where all I'm going to do is just go home and get mad at everything I look at. But yes, it's exciting. I'm
Yeah.
so happy that we have this in our community. So grateful for the team that's been working for months to make sure that it is safe, that it is terrific, that all of the pieces and parts that go into putting together such a big event are done with thought and care.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. It
great.
looks like it'll be a good time. But I agree with you. We always come home from those going, oh, I thought our house was nice.
Yeah, yeah.
That was all I had from the parking lot.
I know. I love that from the parking lot. One day we'll all get to hang out in the
Yeah.
place.
Well, you're not allowed to drive, right? And hold a phone. So, and I didn't want to miss it. So,
Good, good, good. Well, we don't have anything further from anyone else and no questions. So, all right,
all right.
community, it's time for you to tune in next month on October 13th and bring your hard hitting, government questions for us. We'll be excited to answer them. And in the meantime, we'll keep working hard on your behalf.
We'll take softball questions too. Bye, Mayor.
Take it easy.
See ya. Bye.